Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing? Sorry for the little delay there with the old intro music actually getting to the end for a change. Had to just put a wee tweet out and make sure that the YouTube, because I didn't schedule it or anything, looks and sounds like a stream and people know that we're here and we're going to be live opening up a reward. We've got a tier 2 super rare to get into. We've also got the unboxing of all the new draft modes. They're all here. We get our first glimpse into... I think this is maybe the third time I've been saying this in Sorare content, but the new normal, the new SO5 arenas, we're going to come to know it. We're going to come to get comfortable with. So we'll be doing all that in the stream today and much, much more. If you are joining us live, there's a bunch of you here right on the whistle today. Love to see that. Fist bumps to everyone on arrival. Rascal Misaki, Weldon, Ian Sorare, Batman Abs, David Lupu, J Vic, Charlie Dunbar. The ones coming in getting their fist bumps. Please do. Like the stream. If you're watching this after we've been live, thank you very much. If you're watching this live, then of course your likes mean the most. They flash rainbow colours, little stars sparkle out the sides of them. They make you feel good inside, and it lets the interweb know that we're here. And as you guys know, when we are opening rewards, because Sorare own the internet at this point, the more times you like it, the more you interact in the live chat. When we're opening up rewards, that's when the reward block starts to pop. We're in tier 2 super rare, and I opened up the tier pool earlier today, and there's some really good cards in this pool. Now the card's sitting there waiting for me, so I don't know, will we go into the pool? I think we will. We'll wait for a little bit to see how many of you show up. And I say, if you're just catching this, I will recap a couple of times. I'm not going to be here too long. It's not going to be a proper stream. We won't be here for like an hour or anything. I've got Road to Glory stuff to finish up for you guys for tomorrow. And there's plenty of other stuff and happening around the ether, as it were. Member section will be tomorrow as well, by the way. So if you're watching this after we've been live as well, especially, you can find member section details in the description of this video and on the main channel. It's £1 a month, 25p a week. You can come into the live chat. People ask me to review their galleries, build their lineups. All sorts of crazy stuff happens there every Wednesday afternoon generally. And that starts from £1 a month, 25p a week. No strings attached. And that's all done through YouTube memberships. So again, the links are all down there. You can find out more about that at your leisure. Now, I don't know where to start. I've got Gareth Hughes here. I'll just make my chat section a little bit bigger so I can see what's going on here. Sorry. Had 471 points in casual and won a common Kimmich just before they became useless. Gareth Hughes, that is a sore one. Good luck for everyone else's rewards, fist bump. If you've opened your rewards already, which you probably have, you'd have to be a madman in the situation that I'm in to hold off opening your reward. As soon as you get the notification, the first thing you want to do is just rip that thing open and just see what's going on there. But we'll have a look at the team. So I ended up landing in 9th, unfortunately. Me and Harry Trades did a watch along on Sunday for Barca versus Getafe. And, Soria, I could not ask for any more from Soria. 48 on all around, no multiplier, of course, against Barcelona. Cool. Can deal with that, can live with that, no problem at all. Enes Unal landed on a flat 35, and that's what kind of took us. We were only like 20 points away from tier 1s. We finished in 9th. So we're in like the 5th spot for this prize pool. There is a few prize pools that pay out tier 2 super rares of this caliber, or of this kind of quantity. Another division, so we should be around the top 15% or so is when I kind of guesstimate myself. Right at the top, we've got Classy, we've got Cara. We've got a few names that really spring out here, like Josh Doig, Angelino, Hrigota here of Gerter Firth in Bundesliga 2. I think he's a big scoring player. Marco Arnautovic, of course, Josh King, Diego Rossi, Alexis Sanchez, who's rediscovered himself in Marseille. Andre Kramaric would be disgustingly good, I think. Lewis Ferguson would be interesting, to say the least. Toko Wakambe, I think it's actually just maybe went to the Galaxy. So that could be good. Sieben Handel, a goalkeeper, yes please, that would work. Lossell, I think if he still plays, yes please. Adley, really impressed with him at the weekend for Leverkusen against, it's escaping me now, Mönchengladbach, I think. So yeah, I would take a super rare of him, no problem at all. Uzani is highly rated, I would take that. Spearings, sounds cool, but I've got enough midfielders. So as you can see, this tier 2 prize pool is pretty vibrant. There's a lot of different shapes and sizes in here. There is a few Jaggies. There is a few Jules in here as well. Goalkeepers, there's another David Marshall that's in the prize pool. Majovski, he's just went somewhere really interesting actually. Who just signed Majovski? Or somebody's interested in him. I forget who it is, but somebody, is it Lazio or something? Somebody mad has just went in for Majovski. I forget who it is. Someone in the live chat will be able to catch that. Nikola Vlasic would be fun. Again, a midfielder I'm not really desperate. I don't need super rare mids. But yeah, look at the pool's still going. Max Aaron's recently featured on the road to glory. Really deep pool. Very Abu Diallo, been great form for Leipzig. He'd be a great super rare defender. Would take that no problem. Nico Elvelde, right in the bottom of this pool, really, isn't he? There's a few great pieces here, guys. I'm pretty excited. Let me know what you think about the prize pool. What kind of cards should I be thinking about? If I scroll too far down, am I going to get something further up towards the top? We'll get to the rewards shortly. There's a bunch easier. As I say, we'll kind of wait for a few more who maybe want to join us for the opening itself to come and get stuck in. There's a few of these already interacted on Twitter. Thank you very much. If you are on Twitter, do give us a wee like and a retweet and all that good stuff as well. Jonathan Gargi, fist bump, good to see you, my man. Charlie Dunbar, some good T2s in that pool. I would definitely agree. And, you know, we'll get to this in the stream as well. We'll have a look at the prize pools for next week, because even though it still says specialist and underdog or whatever, the prize pools feel very different. And it'll be great to have a first kind of unboxing, have a look of what's going to be behind the curtain. You know, we're starting to get, like I said in I released a video earlier today. If you've missed it, please do catch it. It's called If I Started Sorare Today. I timestamped it for if you play rares, limiteds, or you're free to play. So again, even if you don't want to watch the full 19-minute video, you can watch the 5-minute section that you're after. But I said in the tweet out for that, like, it feels like we're on the precipice, you know, and I think in the intro of the video I say something similar, but it really does feel that way, you know. The Lazio, says Ross, it is Lazio. After last night, doubt anyone is interested in Aberdeen players. Well, if they're leaving, for Lazio especially, to be the super sub replacement for Ciro Immobile, again, underdog, cap 220. Again, there's so many strategy things. I've got a great list of stuff to be recording when we finish with this today, which is why we won't be doing a proper stream today. We'll be doing the reward opening for the Tier 2 Super Rare. We'll just have a look at the Tier 2 pool, and then we'll have a look at the unboxing for the new draft system, how that kind of looks and feels straight away, first impressions, and the prize pool that me and Harry Trades will go into much more detail on Thursday, and there might be some other content where we're going to the draft system in much more detail across the Sorare sphere of YouTube, as it were. So watch out for that, wherever you may find it. But yeah, there's a bunch of these here. Thank you very much. Please do like the stream where you're live or after we've been live. But yeah. So we've got all that to go through, and I think I'm kind of itching. We've seen the prize pool. I'll scroll up the way. So anyone just joining us now, this is the pool that I'm fishing in. I think it's a real mixed bag, and who knows really where you're going to land in a pool like this and what you're going to end up. The main thing we can ask for is that they play. Now, on my hit list, I've got, in terms of unnamed on my hit list, so I've got like some named players on my hit list, and if you've seen the trading video I did on Monday, even though, and by the way, guys, I'll say this at this point, any trading videos, particularly the NBA ones, like even if you don't play NBA, that is like a so rare like video, if you get me. The NBA has been fantastic, I think, for just showing a lot of examples where like the example card isn't like you know, the ointment isn't spoiled on it with like an imperfection, like, oh well, that guy's champ hero and I play with challenger, or this guy's U23 or whatever. It's just really good for just having like clean examples of card is worth X, objectives are Y, and action and some trades and some sequences. So if you've not watched those videos yet because you think they're basketball ones, I talk about zero basketball in those videos. It's all about so rare trading, I promise. So yeah, like as long as they play, that's the thing. And on this list, I've got some guys that are named and some guys that are unnamed. And the profiles are unnamed. Is MLS, and this is super rare, MLS goalkeeper, MLS defender, and an MLS forward. We'll see where Giakoumakis lands because he might relieve that forward pressure I've got. But an MLS defender or goalkeeper, I wouldn't rule out. It seems like we're always going to be getting somebody the now, but that is currently playing, and those guys don't seem to be in this pool, which is fine. It means it's a bit of a free roll of the dice. Maybe it adds to something I've got going on the now. Maybe it enhances a team I've got. Let's hope so. Or maybe it's something that's very valuable I've got no use for that I can sell into the market, and then we can always have some fun with what we do with the consequences of that. So, before we get into it, 9th and specialist super rare, Ivan Ilic balling out with a 94. His last performance for Verona, he has now moved to Olympique Marseille. Pablo Maffeo as well, he got an assist for Mallorca in their 1-0 victory against Celta Vigo. Jordan Larson back in the starting 11 for Schalke, beg your pardon. No great score for him, but he done his part. The specialist competition is all about mixing out players that don't have that good form and coming into the game week. So having a guy that, anyway, wasn't too far off. Or almost in the top 4. We weren't that far away from it. Top 4 would have been a tier 1 super rare, and if we did finish first, it would have been a unique. But we finished 9th. We still got the top 10, and we're in the top end of the tier 2 super rare pool. So let's see what we've got here. I'm nervous and excited all at once. Now, guys, in the live chat, I want you to be smashing fist bumps and good lucks and fingers crossed and trophy emojis in the next 5 seconds. And that's going to build up through the internet. It's going to go through the algorithm. And we're going to get some great RNG luck here. And we're going to get an amazing tier 2 super rare. Let's see it. Let's have it. He's Spanish. He plays up front for Lugo. Chris Ramos. Bummer. Don't know this guy at all. La Liga Segunda Division player. Now, he's a tier 2 for finishing 9th. So I'm going to hold my breath here that he's maybe got a bit of a profile. Now, Chris Ramos, 25 years of age. Now, I don't think that team are doing too well. Maybe I'm wrong. What was his name again? Chris Ramos? I've forgotten it already. Yeah, he plays for CD Lugo. L1548. The rare price goes for £163, that is. Very much a cap 220 come underdog type guy. He starts all the time. Now, what's his deal? Yeah, this team just don't win very often. They don't score that many goals. He's a centre forward. So he is primed for, if they have a turn in form, he should be one of the main beneficiaries. How likely is their form to turn? I don't see any consistent pattern here of positive results, to say the least. But as you can see here, when they do, he can be in amongst it for them. Not holding my breath on this one. I'm not overly enamoured or excited by it. But hey, nope, sugar, wrong tab. There we go. Chris Ramos is into FC Barcelona. And there we go. That's my tier 2 super rare. A wee bit of a, yeah, wet balloon, a flat whistle or whatever the analogy is I'm thinking of. But as you can see, coming into the upcoming game week, this is the old one. The old draft systems are now all gone. They've been rubbish. They've been binned, as we know. Commons, RIP, are now gone. And it is the new normal. The prize pools, as soon as the new game week opened at 11 o'clock, I was waiting for the prize pools to come. And the last bunch of times, they're always there automated, ready to rock. But this week, it did have a bit of a delay. It did have a bit of a time until the prize pools became apparent and we could see them in their full glory. And I can see why there was a bit of a delay, because they feel very different to me. Now, how different they actually are or not, I'd be very interested to hear your perspective on this. Again, whether you've been watching live or you're catching this after we've been live. Because top to bottom, it feels like the reward pools are very much more robust, and for some of the competitions, like extra generous, and we'll have a look at what some of them are now. Bit of a bummer. Hopefully his form can turn around. Yeah, I agree with that. Kasuba Saxena. Hey, Quinny, started playing Sorare 3 weeks ago. Your content really helped. Thank you very much. Got a Carl Starfelt as a reward in Challenger Limited. Fist bump. Congratulations. That's a great reward. Liam King, good to see you, my man. Fist bump. But yeah, so when we look at the main one that catches my eyes up here at super rare level and all the rest of it, right? Because we're starting to get a wee bit of something else, which we'll come to. I think it was back here. Yeah, so back in Specialist Limited, right? Which used to be one of the glory divisions. But it's kind of built like that, isn't it? 5-star rares up here. 25 places up for tier 1s, tier 2 rares as well. Huge places up at the top. And it feels like these specialist competitions, like especially when you look at the top end, like when I look at specialist super rare in particular, it's a unique podium. No, that's not what I'm looking at. It's just the drafts from last week, isn't it? It's a unique podium getting paid out on this alongside a full podium of tier 1 super rares. It's absolutely in full fluster. Good portion of tier 2s like we've seen in this game week, and a huge pool of tier 3s that we didn't see in the prize pool that I just rewarded from. So it feels like at the top, there's definitely extra cream up there, and at the back, there's, and I know again this is a weekend versus some fixtures being on and off and all the rest of it. That does come into play as well. But from some of these competitions that I see regularly, like having rares up here, double podium at the top for some of these competitions has been tested, and it has been here and there, and it's not really been. But star rare for winning underdog super rare on top of a tier 1 super, it feels like there's just a little bit more gloss at the top end of some of these divisions. And now, when you do scroll through the SO5 arena, there's so much going on here. And all the scarcity levels, there's so much going on. And it begins, of course, with the draft ones up here. Now, even if you've got almost zero intentions of playing the free-to-play stuff, 100,000% draft your team in this game week, because there's some real cheat code cards you can get in game week 1 and have a play around with it. And do you know what? Out the 4 of them, so even if you end up just playing one of them semi-part-time, like when you're on Sorare anyway, like most people watching this stream probably will be anyway, then any passing interest you have in that league, if they were to run special fancy competitions with special fancy giveaways or whatever, then you'll be closer to, oh, do you know what, that would be a great, like, once in a lifetime experience or something that I would never pay for or endeavour to organise. But with the cards I've got already, and I've been following this team, and now I can win tickets to blah de blah or signed whatevers and all the rest of it, then cool. So as I say, I would be quite open-minded to it, no matter what your budget is on the platform. And obviously, there's only 4 leagues here. We do expect the Champion Euro, the Infinity Gauntlet. We're just waiting for that last Infinity Stone to come in. And and I think we'll have 5 leagues here. It's probable that we'll have 6 with MLS as well. And I wouldn't rule out, as time goes on, who knows when, but when time goes on, things like every league that is licensed, like the Jupiler League, has got every merit in the world to have as a standalone division here. Probably more so in Rare than in Limited, but perhaps in Limited as well. On top of all these other things that we're starting to see filter through the old academy process, we can see now visually quite clearly that you're going to be fed through like a league structure. You start off with one or all of these, then can you make it into the semi-pro one where you've picked up a Bundesliga Limited with your Bundesliga Commons, and you're trying to then fashion a team with them and move that way through. So you're kind of building like 5 or 4 at the moment, 4 kind of strands through that kind of free-to-play into that pro kind of setting. And yeah, it feels like a real big innovation. And like at the moment, and what we're seeing now, of course, is the first kind of wave of this. And like they said in the Median article, and we can see here already, and we're going to see from the next 2 game weeks, especially once everything gets into proper like concurrent game weeks, you see midweeks and a weekend and whatever, you're going to see that over time as well, this will probably very likely only move up the way as the platform does scale and become bigger, more cards become available, because now what they've got is a very scalable model on competitions where, like, I didn't really state it hard. It probably wasn't as overly apparent to me as it was earlier today when I was kind of thinking about it. But for every card scarcity, we're always crying out and yearning for more utility, and it feels like what's available in Limited is going to work well for the amount of cards we've got there, and maybe some of the estimations and the guesstimations that Sorare make on the amount of managers, active managers, competitive lineups, cards available, yada yada, is Rare and Super Rare just couldn't handle all of that yet. All the leagues would be ran threadbare, and maybe it would just be a wee bit of a Wild West because, like, who knows. But in time anyway, I do suspect that we will see these things filter up. So again, if you're one of these managers that kind of filters runs between Limiteds and Rares, like, still kind of straddling that line of both of them, I think it's probably going to pay off pretty well, because I think competitions like the kickoff ones in particular, depends on your card count. The kickoff competitions can be very appealing and very attractive. Like, looking at Rare kickoff, which I can't enter, of course, I've got far too many rares for it, but the competition, this is Limited cards you'll be playing in this. And yeah, all of them average of 55 or below on their L15, between 3 and 4 Limited, between 1 and 2 Rare cards. They get treated as a Super Rare in this instance. This is basically what you've all been waiting for in terms of Limited Pro or whatever. This is it. You can play 2 rares that behave in the competition as a Super Rare does. And yeah, you've not got star level cards here. This is maybe more of akin to an old D2 prize pool, in the sense that we want star level cards in this, and they're not quite forthcoming yet. But for it being a kickoff mode, and again, we'll see how the entrants go in terms of numbers and whatever, but because again you need less than 10 rares to compete in this, I'm not too sure how ferocious this field will be. This is probably quite open to a lot of different competitors, and again, depending on how the population or the quality is on some of these tiers, then this could be a very exciting competition if you've been, I've just about got a threshold team together, or I just got together a whatever team. Playing this, by the way, is probably, depends on your card count, could be very much underestimated. Limited kickoff, I can play again, which is cool. Super Rare kickoff, I can't, but again, we've got 15 cards in here, and again, depending on if you're straddling that line or not. Tier 2s galore. You've just seen how good that Tier 2 price pool was. I suspect getting on the podium, you're going to get one of the better cards out of that pool than what I got, because it's a podium payout, and they're extra weighted. And unique kickoff, we've got a podium payout for it of tier 3 uniques. That doesn't particularly interest me too much or excite me too much, but it is uniques. So, like, who falls into tier 3 could be any random person, and having the unique as unique, it's a different level of gravy, isn't it? So yeah, I've drafted again all 4 of my teams for this, and I did have a few. I'm hesitant to go through it because there's a good chance I'm going to get together with some folk and maybe go through this in a bit more detail, right? But there's a few things in these like the card payouts are 200, right? They're not that great, right? And it is quite like I've seen from the betas. Like I've drafted pretty good teams in La Liga. And did I win? No, I didn't in the end. I got very close to winning in La Liga one game week. I don't think I did win anything. No, I couldn't have. But I was almost in the top 200 for a little bit, and I built a really good fantasy team, like really good. So I do think this is a bit lean, but again, for it being a free-to-play access point game, like maybe it's yeah, maybe that's all it's going to have in it. It's just 200 commons, 200 limiteds, I beg your pardon, per division. And again, maybe that's why, like I was saying earlier, it's an idea to maybe just play around with the 5 of them when 5 become available. And then whatever one you naturally do well at, or you've picked the best draft for possible, then you kind of gravitate towards and you kind of focus on. I'm going to catch up with you guys in the live chat. We'll see what's going on. We've been going for about 23 minutes or so. I didn't really expect us to be going much longer than half an hour. So we'll see how long we go for here. I've opened a tier 2 super rare reward. We're doing a little unboxing of the new SO5 reward center with the prize pools. I'm going into the live chat to get your opinion. If you've got anything you want to say, drop it in the live chat. Drop it in the comment section down below if you're watching this after we've been live as well. And of course, I'll come back and check that out at a later point. Is Legends pool change? Checking, but just showing as weekly pool. So not showing that you can win people, not Legends. Yeah, I've never examined the Legends prize pool well enough to really give you any comment on that. Jack Doyle, fist bump, by the way, good to see you. Ross, Boga looks amazing value in Serie A free to play. Jeremy Boga, is he still at Sassuolo? I've got some really good picks in some of my teams, by the way. EC Palazon, says Aaron Sykes. He's a great shout as well. He's in great form for Rio, but I'm a Rio hater now, you know, because they're normally playing the teams that I'm backing. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but because I've not been playing long, but isn't it going to be harder to gain unlimited now if only the top 200 are going to get one? Yeah, from these competitive, but so beforehand, in the old common division, I forget what the total payout was, but when you add in the 5th division here, I don't think it was more than 1,000 limiteds. And because the field is going to be split between the 3 of these, and the incentives are going to come from, I'm pretty sure, like when as well, let's see a semi-pro. Like, how do you get out of this? It's just there's prizes here. I think, was there not ones still that maybe it's locked to me? No, I'm pretty sure we can see everything now at this point. Semi-pro and pro for all the divisions. Yeah, so like it's expecting you, because in these semi-pro ones as well, like who can enter this? Must have less than 10 limiteds to register. I think because these semi-pro and pro prize pools are going to be so strictly, like there's going to be nobody in these by comparison to any other competition, that the expectation that you can play with your commons and maybe a limited or 2 you get from spare change and whatever, maybe pulling from these divisions here, is you can get enough where you can mess about between the semi-pro and the pro competitions, as well as I don't think that well, I suppose this replaces kickoff then, doesn't it? For the limiteds, limited kickoff is obviously gone, and this is what replaces that, is these pro and semi-pro modes. So I guess with the Road to Glory series, we've got an opportunity there to maybe dive around and do some stuff like that potentially. And this is a sort of cap mode, yeah. So it kind of gets you ready for moving out of this division in that pro mode, pro 270. Semi-pro and yeah, so it's semi-pro and pro 270. So semi-pro is the same, but you've only got 1 limited you can play. Yeah, so I think that's probably easier than the old casual division or the old common payout that we're just leaving behind. The live chat's popping away, sorry, I'll just catch up with this. Instead of getting a guaranteed one if you get over 400 points on Academy, I suppose. Well, 400 points, but how achievable is that? Whereas I think in some of these competitions, like, you probably card on 350 points, to be quite frank, you know. Because it is competition based, and because the field should be, you know, should reward, you know, scores of 350 plus, probably a bit more favourably, I would imagine. Because smashing 400 isn't easy, especially without, I know the limiteds carried huge bonuses in that, but yeah, Modern Rock, you know, interesting to hear your take on it, of course, been loving it. Hey Mai says, wow, I only have Verigear as rare in the kickoff, so that's the lineup I'm throwing away, basically. Fair enough. Jonathan Gargi, that was. For me, yes, I'm paying 1.5 month, and it's like starting the game again. For me, 1 to 5 months, and it's like start. Tassos, I don't understand. You've been playing for 1 to 5, or for 1 month and a half. Is that what it is? 1 month and a half. and it's starting to play the game again. I think from the comment perspective, it's unavoidable that that's the way it feels. But it's like a soft reboot on some of the game modes just to make it like evergreen, and then they don't need to do it again. That's the way Sorare generally operate. It's probably why, it's definitely why it hasn't really changed much over the last whatever, because they kind of, the pattern that they try to replicate is change it, implement it, iterate, done. So it had to happen at some point. Recently picked myself up a Shanklin Super Rare. Liam King, what a card to pick up, my man. I hope that brings you some good luck, my man. I think KO Kickoff Rare is where I'm going this season. Going to pick up a couple now. I've sorted my summer team. Argentina League runs until the weekend before the SPFL, so ideal. Jack Doyle, that's a beautiful strategy, my man. Well composed. Recently, I've caught that one, sorry. Academy was kind of a separate thing once you graduate and you've done it. Yeah, I think that's kind of, I thought I had a wee thought about that as well. There's a lot of kind of minor discussion between you guys having about that, which is good fun. Would it make sense if I am looking to win cards and not have thresholds to have a lineup with 4 rares and 1 SR and play kickoff or 270 rare and small gallery, let's say 7 cards? I think ZM Star taking that bespoke competition approach with limited resources is a great strategy, because it's a great strategy. It's something I would enjoy doing personally, and it's something that I do believe, and I think we've done on the channel in a lot of different ways, and a lot of guys in the live chat here, and you're definitely going to be one of them as well, ZM Star, have tried different strategies that are just that little bit different to the gradient, but focus in particular on the exact upside that you're looking to get your hands on. So if you're thinking about playing, what was the exact one again for 4 rare and 1 SR and play kickoff? Okay, so if this was the core play, so we're going to play kickoff super rare, which is here. 15 SRs on the table, and yeah, the tier 3s are not going to be worth very much if you're thinking about this versus a threshold. Rare levels, I suppose, 50, I suppose, maybe not. And play kickoff or rare 270. I think rare 270 is probably going to resemble what we have for specialist rare. Because specialist rare, we're probably going to have better quality up here. This will be cap 270 in my mind, basically. We'll probably have a better quality of tier available, but I think this is kind of what it will resemble. Double scarcity payouts, and it will be top end native scarcity cards, is the wording of the philosophy from Sorare themselves on that Median article that we seen the other day. So, and how many places? We get 180 or so. And of course, it's this kind of specialist vibe, isn't it? This is the first draft of a team, guys. Yeah, I was doing underdog super rare with a Livingston stack. Exactly, WP Gaming. Like, that is your Livingston stack. Gaza's 20 stack that we've all seen, of course, rocking it in limited and super rare divisions, which is a beautiful parallel that Gaza struck with his club, and huge admiration for what he's been pulling off there. And WP Gaming, of course, with the Livingston one, like we spoke about. And we've seen it before with guys exercising stacks in Chile, Peru, these kind of other places where they just spot the game week where they can exercise and maximize, what they're going for. And I think, and I don't know about it well enough to speak on it, and I don't want to dig up a dead body, as it were, but with the change to the deadline, RE, the K, and the J League and whatever, like, I guarantee you there's going to be people that boss a midweek on a 10 a.m. kickoff on a Friday morning right at the last minute because they just know, or whatever, it's a weekend team, it's not rotated or whatever. So I wouldn't rule that kind of thing out. But yeah, that kind of sentiment rolled into targeting, not a region necessarily, but the opportunity and the reward pool, I think is very good. But I think if you were going to aim for that strategy, ZM Star, probably building the threshold is what you start off by doing anyway, and then organically you would then, because what you'll also be doing in cap mode 240 is winning cards, as well as like aiming for threshold in that mode. So if you're pulling threshold and like tier 2 quality rares, tier 3s probably as well, then that's the platform you want to be at to then make a decision from. When you see everything a bit more, you feel your cards in the arena, you see how hard is it to fit into 270, what does it take to win at 270, what does it take to win in super rare kickoff, etc, etc. So I think for the most part, understanding where you're at now and having like 3 or 4 lanes open to you and thinking, right, if the conclusion I come to is that playing for threshold is a false economy, and what I should do is go for cap 270 and kickoff. Then this is the direction I'm going to move in: buy, sell, trade, whatever. If I think it's going to be the opposite, where I think threshold's going to be the place to be, or it's going to be regions. Regions are never going to be better. The rare pro divisions are going to be the best they've ever been, or whatever the lay out 3 or 4 consequences you're hoping come out, you can maybe have 1 foot in the door of already, and then as soon as you get that first sniff of, yep, it's in this one, then you can just activate some actions and move into that strategy properly. Because everyone that is ever engaged with the content here, that kind of, everyone on this channel, that's the kind of mantra we always kind of sing here, is always just being best prepared to execute the one that feels right to you at the best time for you, for the best amount of cards that you've currently got. Totally throwing the baby out with the bathwater is something we want to avoid doing as often as absolutely possible. Let me see, I've just catch up with the chat again. Makes sense if I'm looking to win cards and not hit the threshold. I have a lineup before. Yeah, no, I get that totally, said I'm starting with you. I've not gone a day for the last 2 or 3 months without hearing Aaron Sykes metaphorically kiss EC Palestine. Yeah, the only beat the game mode is cap 240. Yep, that's confirmed. Pablo Bro, fist bump, good to see you. I'm a Liverpool fan, so I'd like to have a Liverpool 5. Do you think it would be worth investing into limited, especially considering how expensive Alisson is? Now, how expensive Alisson is, David, this is it. So, again, part of the thing I've always had on this channel, right, is part of the gift I think I've received, right, is I always thank my lucky stars, particularly now more than ever, that I found Sorare when I did, because I found it and I had a feeling straight away that, this is a game that can become something that, for the reasons I enjoy it, other people will also enjoy it, and part of the reason would be is, like, in some fantasy games, or any game mode format you care to think of, you do want to have a part of your team, but it's boring having everyone in your team. Maybe you don't like a guy that plays in the team. Maybe a guy's too rare and you can't get your hands on him. If you're thinking about FIFA, maybe there's a version of him you just can't get your hands on, whatever. Then it's me, Quinny. What other guys that I like that I think is better than the guy that plays for my team? Or what one, unfortunately, I can't afford? The Alisson. So if I can't afford Alisson, then who do I like? Who's the other guy? Who's somebody that used to play for my team? Who's somebody that's linked to my team? Or, so that's more the avenue I would go down if you're worried about the price of an Alisson, if that makes sense. Like, if you were just wanting to go buy the 5 of them, you didn't think twice about it, I don't think you would mention the price of Alisson, because goalkeepers, period, are expensive. Alisson is top of the food chain, and you do get, in the SO5 arena, bang for buck on a top of the food chain goalkeeper nowadays, to be quite honest. But that's part of the beauty of Sorare, is that you do not need, and it's probably not optimal, to have your entire favourite team in your SO5 team. It's probably better for you to pick that rogue guy, that cult hero that you follow, know a bit about, have been watching for years, suspect is going to be the next big thing, whatever. So in terms of limited, so for limited, David, like I said, I mentioned this in the If I Started Sorare Today video for the limited players, so check it out in that video in further detail. But limited is a hobbyist. If you want to play Sorare and have fun and get access to maybe winning some tickets or some signed shirts and all that cool stuff, and you're playing fantasy football and engaging with a great community and jumping on the live chats and doing all that cool stuff, and I think limited, as long as you're very much comfortable with, like, spending nominal amounts of money on cards, then I wouldn't think twice about it. And again, a nominal amount of money to you is going to be totally different to a nominal amount of money to the next person. For the most part of my life, I spend nominal amounts of money on daft things all the time, from toys to Sorare cards to football shirts, scarves, tickets to games, fucking betting, anything, So yeah. What's up, Quinny? Ugo, good to see you. Yeah, I was doing an Underdog Super Rare with a Livingston stack. WP Gaming is just letting that be known. Underdog Super Rare, and he was crushing it as well. Padagul, fist bump, good to see you. Unfortunately, I've just been shafted by Mr. Newbley's knee injury. Yeah, that's right. That's a bad one for you. Alex Wilson, good to see you. Bob DeGraff, Quinny, in which competitions can you get thresholds capped 240 for limited, rare, super rare, and unique? Cap 240, all the way up. How did the threshold distribution change? Well, also XP be irrelevant for threshold? Yes, XP will be irrelevant for threshold, but in the big fancy division that we should have the best rewards for, which is the old specialist division, which we just spoke about a minute ago, XP and captain bonuses will be available in cap mode 270. So high XP cards, captain choices, it's going to be I've said it before on the channel for a long time, that I've always said that, like, All-Star mode over time as Sorare develops will be seen as like the hardcore mode. And I think if you compare it to all of these modes, it definitely is. In All-Star, it is do anything. Build any team you want. No one cares in All-Star, you know. So in these cap divisions, there's going to be a bit more precise selections of people. And yeah, so XP and that seems to be held for the best competitions now. Hey, Quinny, do you think a Mallorca stack would be good for cap 240? The problem I've got with Mallorca is I don't like... Danny Rodriguez is a very good buy, or he could be a very good buy depending on his price, because he plays quite a lot, gets involved in a lot of decisives. Muriqi, the forward, Kang and Lee, who do have some... Pablo Maffeo, of course, huge favourite of mine, and the goalkeeper, Rakovic. They do have the bones of like something a bit fun there, but Maffeo is always on the way out, and I think if someone bigger comes in for Rakovic, he'll be gone as well. And... you know, overall, I'm just not... The great thing about Mallorca is that they're a very good home team, as we spoke about on the channel before. So when they're not playing a top 6 team and they're at home, they're a great shout in any game mode. I think that's got a cap on it where you could stack a team, because they can win 1-0, as you've seen there from Maffeo. And let's even look at their scores. Let's see how viable it could have been, even in a 1-0 home win, right? You can't really ask for much better from a stack that we're talking about here, can you? 1-0, what, Celta Vigo. So yeah, what would you have needed? You would have needed Rakovic. You would have needed to guess the best 2 defenders, which would have been Costa and Maffeo. I think you'd have probably had Maffeo. Maybe you've taken the Stasic. He's now injured. Maybe take one of these other guys. Who knows? You need Danny Rodriguez, the other midfielders. This Baba, by the way, he doesn't do good on SO5. Stay away from him if you do look at this team. Don't let him fool you with his potential. Don't look at Baba. And then Muriqi, he's a good enough forward. His AA, as you can see there. Oh, Tino Cadawere, by the way. That's interesting. And Clement Grenier. Clement Grenier, is he still playing? He's only 32. Can't be the Clement Grenier, is it? It is. I think it is the Clement Grenier. He used to be... He was touted for big things once upon a time. Tenner for a rare. That's worth a punt, by the way. That is worth a punt. I do not mind saying that at all. Didn't do great in this game, of course, but, you know, if he comes into a game, why has he not been playing? Has he been there for a while? Yeah, he's been there for a while. He's got a card. He's not been there that long, but, you know, maybe he's been struggling with injury and fitness and stuff. Hard to say, hard to know. But at a glance, man, for a tenner, doesn't seem like a bad rare. He's a guy that could end up in like League 2 and be a boss or something. Really good guy from back in the day. But again, injury status, who knows? Cadawere, of course, could be good in a team like this as well. Good pace on the kit. Maybe. But how many game weeks do you expect this team to land in for you? 2? 3? How many did Livingston come in underdog, by the way? WP Gaming, and how many more WP Gaming are you hoping you maybe catch over the rest of the season? Because Livingston is a good comparable, I think, in terms of stature of team versus that kind of the field, if you like. I think I'm almost caught up here. Quinny, any giveaways? Not today, buddy. No giveaways today. Rice Beans, hey, new to the Sorare channel here. What is the new average needed to win prizes in, say, commons and regular unlimited? Rice Beans, it'll be kind of hard to know that, mate, until we get another game week or two in the bank, and we can have a wee retrospective look. Stay tuned to the channel, hit subscribe, and we'll definitely come back to that. Mallorca midfield is a bit of a problem to choose because most of them are inconsistent. Yeah, well done. That Daniel Rodriguez is like 34 or something as well, and he is also inconsistent, but I had his limited once upon a time, so I know that he can be good, and I knew that he scored in this game because of the Maffeo assist. I seen that he was the goal scorer, and I thought, oh, that's funny, Daniel Rodriguez. But yeah, so it's a difficult team to get a full stack out of. Defensively, I wouldn't even stack them. Attacking wise, I wouldn't even stack them. You know, I don't find them that appealing, you know. Unfortunately, I was absolutely shafted on the quiet game weeks, but Livingston's all-weather pitch becoming useless. Oh, well, cool. Magic. It's been a good bunch of here, guys. I hope you've had good fun with me today for the live stream. Be sure to check out the video that went live earlier today. Fast started Sorare today. Timestamped for rare, limited, and free-to-play players. Check it out. Went out earlier live today. Video I did yesterday is a great trading strategy video. Forget that it's NBA cards if you're not a basketball guy. I don't talk about any basketball in it. I talk about trading on Sorare with some great example cards that are immune from biases like champion and under 23 and out of season and in a season and first editions and XP levels and all that caper. You know, just nice clean examples of maybe some trading strategies and ideas that you guys can use as well. I'll be live on Thursday with Harry Trades. We'll be getting stuck into the game week preview. On top of that as well, tomorrow will be the member section, so stay tuned to that. Have a good time today, guys. Good luck with the game week, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.